Hey everyone, Dean here from the Feeley Real Estate Group, and this month we're doing a brand new monthly market update where we're going to go through all the interest rates, we're going to go through what's happening in the market, how many days is it taking to sell, and all that. So let's jump right into it. So we're in the month of September here, so it's Tuesday, September 10th. We're going to go look at the new listings per week. So we had a pretty much a good lull here since July and August. Things have come up quite a bit here. So this week we actually shot up to about 800 new listings. But the last few weeks we're sitting around that 4 to kind of 620-ish range. So things are really moving up in terms of inventory. You're seeing it. A lot of positivity out there from the interest rates dropping, which gave people the inkling to start listing their properties, prepping their properties over the summer and all that stuff. So, and there's talks of people thinking that the rates are going to come down one more time in October, and we'll see where all that goes. But we'll cover that in a sec here. But yeah, basically, this is going to be, from what I see, is going to be the highest point of the amount of listings that we're going to see for the rest of the year. Typically, at this point, it ends up going much lower towards November and December. Like it really slows down there. So like right now we're in the 800 range, but do I see us maybe going up a little bit more for the next week or two? Sure. But after that, I think once we get closer to October and November, we're going to be seeing the listings drop down to, 600 per week, then 400 per week, then 200. And then we're going to be in that 100 range, which is typically, um, you know, Christmas week and all that stuff where nobody's really shopping for homes. They're busy with family holidays and all that stuff. So yeah, so now we're going to go into the weekly solds. What's happening on the sold side? Are these listings actually getting sold or are they sitting? What's happening? So right now we are sitting at about 300 sold listings per week. Just under that, actually. We're at like 280, 290-ish range. Um, we actually had a busy couple of weeks during August, but obviously we had the Labor Day weekend last week, so that slows things down. Typically, you see that drop off every year, and then it pumps right back up. It looks like we're probably going to hit the 320-ish, maybe 350-ish range in the next week once things bounce back. But yeah, same thing, similar to the listings. We're going to see that kind of stay steady until about October, and then October the sales do start dropping off. Or sorry, at the end of October the sales do start dropping off quite a bit. The last what is this? So 24, 23, 22, 21, 2020, and 2019. So we're still below 2019 numbers. We're same as 23 and 22, same time that year. 2020 was a high because, the state of emergency happened at the beginning of the year and then they reset everything towards the end of the year. And then 21, we're way below that. So right now we're going about, we're 300-ish listings sold per week. We're probably going to get to 330, and then we're going to stay around there up until the last kind of 8 weeks of the year, and then it's going to drop off to kind of mid 200s. And then the last 2 weeks, we're probably going to see somewhere between 100 and 200 sales. But what's that got to do with the listing prices and all that stuff? So let's go through that. Where are we in the average sale price? So average sale price, we're floating around 600, like literally like 605, or we're literally just sitting there. Very similar numbers to 23, 22, and 21. This year has been pretty much a replica of 23 and 21. 2022 were, obviously it was a different year when it started off hot and then it slowed down, but we're very similar numbers to 21, which is interesting to see because the rates are very different than what they were. They're pretty much the opposite of what they were in 21. So it's interesting to see that we're trending those same numbers, and it looks like we're going to trend them for the rest of the year based on what I see here. So 2020, do we see that coming anywhere close? Maybe towards the end of the year once we get December. In 2020, we hit 525 average price point towards the end of the year, and then the last few years we've touched that point in last 2-3 weeks of December. So typically December is a slower month, but you do see some sales go down, you see some sales go up. Really depends on the property, but typically best price points are in December, but are the best listings there? Usually not. So it's kind of pick and choose them kind of thing at the end of it. So in terms of other stats that we have. So going through the average sale price, let's take a look here. So right now, so we basically, yeah, so let's take a look at from April. So April was our high this year. Typically our high is, yeah, so April was in 2023, and then what was this? This was March of 2020. Yeah, so typically March is the peak, but the last 2 years has been April. So what happened? In April we were at 704. We dropped down to May and 695, 689, 681, and then 666 in August. So a massive drop in August. Now new listings. So where were we? So September. So new listings hit May 2024, 3,111. Sorry, 3,111. June 2525, July 2283, and August 1935. But I think we're going to see that just based on the last few weeks' activity. So this is a month by month basis. The other one is the week by week basis. So I think we're going to see this come right up real quick here. Homes for sale. So right now we have 3,555 homes for sale as of August. And we had 3,835 in June. So that was our peak this year. The peak in 23 was in October. Wow. Very, very different. And then the peak in 22 was also October. But the peak in, yeah, so peak again was July, 1,700 homes. Interesting. Now, total sold. So total sold in this year was May, 1566, 1435, 1255, and then August 1097. So we're really dropping off here in terms of how many homes are selling, which is really interesting to see because a lot of positivity is coming out about the interest rate. So people are qualifying for higher now than they were in May and June and July and August. They're qualifying for higher. Their payment is lower, but we're selling the least amount. So I mean, let's see what happens in September, obviously, but it's interesting to see how, there's perception out there, but there's also, these are facts, right? So we've sold the least amount these last 2 months from the whole year. And then even if you go back to, March, yeah, we're selling the same amount as we did kind of March-ish. So yeah. Days on market. This one is one I've been talking to a lot of my seller clients about, is watch for the days on market because things are starting to sit longer and longer. So this is median. Let's take a look at average. So average days on market is 37. The median does come into play here because there are some homes that are still selling within a week's time. If it's priced appropriately and it looks great, it's like a cream puff, right? Cream puff sell instantly. But the ones that are a little rough around the edges, are priced a little bit higher than what they should be, those are the ones that are taking a little bit longer to sell, and it's pushing that days on market, right? So that's where your average, you're sitting at 37 days. So what do you tell the average person looking to sell their home? You tell them, the average home takes more than a month to sell. So that means your home could sell in a month, and you probably have about a week's worth of conditions. So yeah, that's something to keep an eye on too. We were in January of this year, we were at 51, so we're really close to that point. And then in February dropped to 38, so rapidly declined. March dropped to 28, and then we stuck around that point. But this is a huge increase. Now if we go back to January 23, we were 43 days on market, so we're 6 days away from the same days on market than we were in January 23. So things to look at. Cumulative days on market. So this is whenever a home has sat on the market, whether it's been relisted or whatever, it's just total. So this is including, relisted properties, new properties, and all that. You're looking at 55 days. Very, very interesting to see. So it's 2 months. Now, month supply, how much supply do we have? We have the most supply we've had in 3 years. So this year we're at 3.7 in May in terms of month supply. June 3.7, 3.6, 3.4. It dropped, but let's take a look at our 5-year trend. So yeah, the highest this year was the highest the highest month supply we've had in the past 5 years. 10 years, we're quite low. So 2016, you had 6 months worth of supply, which is crazy. December dropped down to 38. Interesting. Lots like, this is we're in a different time now, obviously, but very interesting to see. So if you can think back, if you've owned a home for the past 10 years, what were your thoughts in 2016, and what are your thoughts today? I'm sure they're very, very different. So month supply, percentage of list price. So how many homes are selling to 100% of the list price? Very, very few. Back in 2022 February, we had 112% of list price. Right now, you're getting about 98% of list price. So what that actually means, that's the median. Let's go look at the average here. So yeah, 98.1, very, very similar. So on average, you're getting 2% less of the asking price. So basically, what you can expect is the average buyer to come in and offer you, 2% less, whatever that is, 5-10 grand off your list price, or 2 grand off your list price, whatever it is, whatever the price is, you should expect about 2% less. Again, obviously very, very different than some homes on the market. There's some homes that are actually starting to do the holding offers thing again. So keep that in mind. Like if you see a townhome in the suburbs that's really, really new and it's listed at 500, it's probably going to sell over that. It's probably worth way more than 500. Not to say that those strategies are working again, but it's just to say that we're seeing them again. I've seen a few of them kind of flop midway through and they had to relist at a higher price, but I've seen some go, list at 500 and the home's worth around 550 and somebody pays 545 for it and they take it, right? So it is still a good way of selling your home quick. Is just making sure that you get the value that actually makes sense for that property. Percentage of original price, so 97% of the original list price. So this is when a home gets decreased or whatever, how close is it to the original list price on average. So 96.9% and 97.1 for the yeah. So shows to sold. How many showings does it take to sell your house? So 9 on median. So average 11. So that's typical. I always say that every 10 showings, you should expect 1 offer. So taking 11 shows to sell your home pretty much makes sense. 11 showings come in, you're usually got a home sold. So in January, we're looking at 13 showings to sell a home. Now, showings per listing, this is where it gets tricky. On average, you're getting 4.1 showings per listing. So that's interesting. So if it takes you 11 showings to sell your home, but you're only on average getting 4, what does that mean, right? Those are very interesting numbers to keep in mind. Now, those are basically for all homes. If you're ever thinking about, if you have a condo or a townhome or a single family home or a big luxury home, all these numbers vary and they skew very differently. Like if we go into single family homes, let's say days on market. Okay, so days on market for a single family home, it's going to be very different. So we got 38 on average, not that different, but let's say a condominium, you got 45, so you're much, much more, right? You go to a townhome, you're at 33, semi-detached, you're at 31, multifamily homes, they're taking 52 days, mobile homes, 44. So it all varies depending on the property type. They all go up and down a little bit, but it really depends on what's moving. Obviously, higher price points take longer to sell. So let's say 759, all property types. So it takes 39 days to sell. 580 to 758, 33 days. 420 to 580, 39 days. 420 or less, 41 days. That is interesting. I've actually never looked at these, but that is interesting to see, is that it's taking a longer to sell a home that's $420,000 because it's more affordable. You have way more demographic that can actually qualify for it than a home that's, like looking at let's say a 759 home that's taking 39 days to sell. Okay, so it's not that much of a difference, but let's say, so 580 to 758, like you have to have that's a pretty big range, and it's taking 33 days compared to 420. It is taking 41 days. So very, very interesting to sell. See. Now, what's going on with the bond rate? So let's take a look at the bond rate. So today we are at 2.7%, and a 5-day trend. 5 days ago we're at 2.9. 1 month ago So 2.7 1 month ago, we're at 2.9.